So our mission today is to pull apart Effortless English Listening, the Immersion with Intention Method by Teacher Sam. We want to find the secrets, the really actionable stuff, to finally get past that frustration and understand real English.
Yeah, and the source material really gets into those specific pain points.
Yeah.
The gap between textbook English and how people actually talk, all the slang, the phrasal verbs, how sounds just squish together.
Like wanna and gonna.
Exactly. And that constant translating in your head, it just slows you down. Plus, those super slow learning audios don't really prep you for the real speed, do they?
No, not at all. So the source makes this bold claim. Listening isn't about learning rules, it's about training your ears. Almost like building muscles.
It is. It's a different way of thinking about it. Not just memorizing, but actively conditioning your hearing.
Which sounds potentially faster. The source suggests you can rewire your brain, maybe improve quicker than you think, just minutes a day, if you use the right strategy.
That's the exciting promise, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about retraining how you process sound.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The core seems to be this phrase, immersion with intention. What does that actually mean in practice?
Well, let's break it down. Immersion first. It's basically surrounding yourself with English constantly.
Like all the time.
Ideally, yeah. Making it part of your daily life. Think music, podcasts you actually like, YouTube videos, movies, maybe switching your phone language. It's not just dedicated study time. It's making English the background radiation of your day almost.
Got it. So it's the constant exposure. Then what about intention? That sounds more active.
That's exactly it. It's the active part. It's not just having English on in the background like elevator music.
Right.
Intention means you're tuning in. You're actively focusing. Maybe you're repeating things. You're trying to notice specific stuff like patterns, how sounds connect, the rhythm.
So you're listening on purpose.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The source has this great analogy. If immersion is the water, intention is the swim. You're not just floating, you're actively moving through it.
I like that. Water and swimming. So it makes sense. Combining the two is where the magic happens, as the source puts it.
That's the idea. Passive exposure helps, but active listening within that immersion, that's the accelerator.
And when you do that, when you intend to listen, your brain starts picking up on things.
Yeah, it starts noticing those connections, like how want to becomes wanna. It's not magic, it's just how we speak.
Or going to becoming gonna.
Exactly. And you start hearing the music of English, the rhythm, the intonation, where the pauses naturally fall.
It's more than just words then.
Absolutely. You pick up common phrases as chunks, not word by word.
Yeah.
And you start understanding the emotion, the emphasis, the context. Stuff that grammar rules alone just don't cover.
Okay, so the goal is to stop translating word for word in your head.
Right. Over time, with this intentional immersion, you just
Understood.
understand. It starts feeling natural, like your brain's finally tuned to the right station. No more mental gymnastics.
That tuning in feels right. So what's happening biologically? What's the brain science behind this immersion with intention idea? Why does it actually work?
It comes down to something really fascinating called neuroplasticity.
The brain changing itself.
Exactly. Your brain isn't fixed. It can physically rewire itself based on what you repeatedly expose it to. So the more real, natural English you hear with all its speed, its emotion, its variety, the more your brain literally adapts to process it better.
So it physically changes to get better at English?
In a sense, yes. It forms new connections, strengthens pathways. Think of a musician developing perfect pitch. They train their ear. You're training your language ear.
Okay, that makes sense. But the source points out this big problem, the input gap. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's where most learners spend, say, hours reading or doing grammar exercises.
The traditional stuff.
Right. But maybe only like minutes actually listening to real, natural spoken English. Or they listen, but it's that super slow, unnatural audio.
So there's a huge mismatch between reading input and listening input.
A massive one. And it's why your reading might be great, but your listening lags behind. You haven't given your brain enough of the right kind of practice.
It's like trying to learn to swim by just reading about swimming strokes.
Exactly. You need to get in the water. But the good news is this gap. It's completely fixable. You can start closing it today.
Okay, fantastic. So theory's clear. How do we actually do it? Let's get into the practical stuff, the genius-level strategies the source talks about for boosting listening skills fast.
All right, let's dive in. First up, subtitled Shadowing. This one's powerful.
Shadowing, like mimicking.
Exactly. You find a video, maybe a short YouTube clip or a TED Talk snippet, something with accurate English subtitles. First, watch a bit with the subtitles.
Okay.
Then you pause after a phrase or sentence and you repeat it out loud, trying your best to copy the speaker's exact speed, their tone, even their emotion.
So really acting it out almost.
Kind of. Then, crucially, try repeating it again without looking at the subtitles,
Ah, testing yourself. Why does this work so well?
because it trains everything at once. Your brain understands, your ears tune into the sounds, and your mouth practices making those sounds. It connects comprehension and production.
Makes sense. Okay, what's next?
Consistency is key. So the daily 10-minute listening habit, just 10 minutes every single day.
Only 10 minutes. That sounds manageable.
Totally. But it has to be active, intentional listening. Find something you actually find interesting. Podcasts like The English We Speak or maybe Luke's English podcast are great suggestions from the source. Or YouTube interviews, audiobooks.
Whatever works for you.
Right. And a pro tip mentioned is using tools like Rewordify or LingQ. They can help simplify tricky tests or let you easily look up and save new words you hear, making that input really stick.
Okay, daily habit. Got it. What else?
Tip number 3 is clever. Listen first, then read.
But usually it's the other way around, right? Read while listening.
Often, yeah. But this flips it. First, you listen to a short audio clip, maybe a minute, without any text or subtitles at all.
Okay, just listening blind.
Then you try to jot down what you understood, even just keywords or phrases. Whatever you caught.
Challenging.
It is. But then you look at the transcript and compare. Why does it work? It forces your brain to focus intensely on the sounds, not relying on the visual crutch of text. It sharpens your ears for those tricky bits.
I can see that. Forces concentration. Okay, number 4.
This one's crucial for making it real. Join conversation clubs.
Interacting with actual people.
Yes. Because listening isn't just passive intake. You need to understand enough to respond eventually. The source suggests platforms like Tandem, HelloTalk, Speaky, or even finding local meetups.
So practicing in real time.
Exactly. And the key tip here is, especially at first, focus more on listening during the conversation. Don't stress too much about making perfect sentences when you talk. Just absorb the flow, the rhythm. Let your brain soak it in.
Good advice. Less pressure. All right, one more.
Yes, and this one's called audio sandwiching. Sounds tasty.
Haha. Okay. How does the sandwich work?
Simple but effective. Step 1, listen to about a minute of audio. Just listen.
Okay. Bread slice 1.
Exactly. Step 2, read the transcript for that exact same minute. That's the filling.
Got it.
Step 3, listen to that same minute of audio again. Bread slice 2.
The sandwich. Listen, read, listen.
Right. You can even repeat out loud after the second listen if you want extra practice. Why it works. The reading helps you catch what you missed the first time. Hearing it again right after reading helps solidify it, moving it towards long-term memory. You're hitting the same material from different angles.
That sounds really smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have these great techniques. How do we put it all together?
Well, the source wraps it up with a call to action. A 30-day listening challenge.
Just commit for a month.
Yeah. Pick 1 or 2 of these strategies and just do them consistently for 30 days. The big message is, don't expect to understand everything overnight. That's not the point.
The point is the consistency.
Exactly. It's the daily intentional practice that builds the skill. Over those 30 days, you will notice changes. You'll start bypassing that translation step.
Feeling the rhythm more.
Understanding more spontaneously, feeling more confident. It's about building that self-belief through consistent action. Every little bit counts.
And that leads to that powerful closing statement from the source. Your breakthrough is not in the future. It's in your next 10 minutes of practice.
It really puts the power back in your hands, doesn't it? It's about
Alright.
starting now.
Wow. Okay, that was a fantastic deep dive. The whole immersion with intention idea, it feels like such a common sense shift, but really profound when you break it down. And those tips are so practical.
They really are. It moves listening from this passive, frustrating thing to an active skill you can actually train.
So to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Yeah. Maybe consider this. What if you intentionally picked just one of these tips, and maybe shattering or the audio sandwich or just that 10-minute habit and really committed to it for just the next week?
Just 7 days.
How might that small, focused effort begin to change your confidence the next time you're in a real English conversation? What doors might open up when listening starts to feel less like hard work and more like, well, just understanding?
Food for thought. Thanks for breaking that all down.
My pleasure. It's powerful stuff.